When you think about war poetry, it's easy to picture just descriptions of battles, right? But it's so much more than that. It's a place where language itself gets turned into a battlefield, a really raw, personal space where poets confront everything: fear, loss, anger, and maybe most importantly, truth.
So let's really lean into that idea for a second. What if a poem could be a battlefield? Not just in what it says, but in how it's built. The rhythm, the sounds, the whole structure. What if that could be a place where the real, ugly truth of war wages its own battle against propaganda? That's the big question we're going to unpack.
All right, so if poetry is a battlefield, what exactly makes it so powerful? Well, first things first, we gotta understand the weapons being used, and that means getting a handle on what war poetry really is. Okay, so at its heart, war poetry is a confrontation. It's not just some neutral report from the front lines. It's designed to grab you and force you to look at the real human cost of conflict. And it has two main tools to do this, and they're totally connected. You've got the content, that's the raw, lived experience, and then you have the form, which is the artistic structure the poet uses to hit you with that experience. And here's what's so fascinating about it. Real war poetry, it's not about heroes and glory. Nope. It's all about realistic suffering. It digs into the deep emotional stuff, the grief, the guilt, the trauma. And a lot of the time, to really capture the chaos of war, these poets they break the rules. They ditch traditional poetic forms, and in doing so, they create this powerful challenge to all the official propaganda. And if you want a perfect example of this, well, look no further than Wilfred Owen. This guy was a master. He didn't just write about the war. He actually turned the very structure of his poems into an act of protest. It's incredible. His most famous poem is built on this brilliant kind of tension. The message itself is pretty straightforward. War is a horrific, ugly lie. But here's the genius part. Instead of writing some beautiful, elegant poem about how ugly war is, he does the opposite. He creates something that feels broken and chaotic, so you don't just understand the ugliness, you actually feel it. I mean, just listen to these words. There is nothing poetic or romantic about that, is there? It's just brutal, physical, suffocating. That's the sound of a man dying in a gas attack. And with those three words, Owen throws you right into the trench next to him. And that's the genius of it. It's not a description anymore. It becomes an experience. Those harsh sounds, the jagged, irregular rhythm, it's all designed to make you feel the panic, the chaos. The form of the poem is the message. They're one and the same. And then, after all that, he delivers the final knockout punch. After dragging you, the reader, through all that mud and gas, he quotes this famous Latin phrase, the propaganda piece, and he just calls it what it is, the old lie. You realize the entire poem was this carefully built weapon aimed right at that one devastating conclusion. Okay, so we've seen the sheer power of human experience, right? But now we're in the age of AI, and a totally new kind of combatant is stepping onto this battlefield. The big question is, can a machine do this? Can it create this kind of art? So let's get specific. Could an AI, after being fed, every war poem ever written, actually replicate that perfect fusion of form, message, and lived trauma? Could it give us more than just a poem? Could it give us a piece of testimony? Well, someone actually designed an experiment to find out. So here's the setup. An AI was given a task: write a poem about the Indo-Pak War of 1971. But, and this is the really cool part, there was a twist. It had to write the poem in 5 different sections, with each one mimicking the unique voice of a famous war poet. We're talking the whole range, from the super patriotic style of Rupert Brooke all the way to the gruesome, in-your-face reality of Wilfred Owen. And you know what? The result is pretty impressive, technically speaking. The AI absolutely nails the imitation. It gets Brooke's patriotic language down pat. It captures Sassoon's bitter sarcasm. It even mimics Owen's focus on those gruesome details. So on the surface, you look at it and say, wow, success. But is it really? And that question brings us to the most important part of this whole thing. The final showdown, really. What's the actual difference between the human poems and the AI's imitation? Where does the machine fall short? This chart really breaks it down for us. Look at Owen. His gruesome realism came from lived trauma. He was there. The AI? It just copies a gruesome style.
Or take Sassoon. His biting sarcasm was born from this genuine moral outrage at the hypocrisy he saw all around him. The AI? It just mimics a sarcastic tone. See the pattern here? The human art is rooted in real, authentic experience. The AI's art? It's just rooted in pattern recognition.
So here's the bottom line. The AI's poem is a brilliant forgery. I mean, truly brilliant. It has all the right markings on the outside, it looks like war poetry, it sounds like war poetry, but it's missing the one thing that actually gives it meaning: authentic emotional depth. It's kind of like a ghost in the machine. And that really is the fundamental difference, isn't it? Owen, Sassoon, all of them, they wrote because they had to. It was a compulsion, to bear witness, to protest, to try and make some sense of their own suffering. Their poems are artifacts of human experience. The AI, on the other hand, writes because we told it to. It's just assembling a collage from the data of other people's pain. So what are the big takeaways here? First, war poetry is this incredible demonstration of how form and content work together to create emotional truth. Second, a genius like Owen could actually weaponize that form to protest a lie. Third, yeah, AI is a stunningly good mimic, but, and this is the big one, it can only copy the style of trauma, not the soul behind it. It's a powerful reminder that real, authentic art isn't just about processing data. It's about bearing witness. And all this leaves us with a really important question to think about. As AI gets better and better at flawlessly imitating our art, does that make our art less valuable? Or does it do the opposite? Does it maybe force us to realize that the true value of art isn't just in the polished final product, but in the messy, painful, and totally irreplaceable human need to create it in the first place?